back. Do, take you back.
So obviously, I think...
Sorry, can you start it again? People were saying.
Yeah, apparently the judge asked one of the photographers which one was Lee Haskins. And the photographer said, in the red corner. And I think he asked him a couple of times and said, in the red corner, and I presume he just thought in the red shorts. But frightening. Frightening that your future can be put in the hands of someone like that. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, because he's an old gentleman, and I'm sure he's judged many fights. But that is just, I mean, it could have gone horribly wrong. Could have been recalled on the scorecard, but what do? You know, you have to go and ask, did you mean to put it in the other box? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, he obviously did. It was 10-8. He scored two 10-8 rounds to Haskins.
Sixth on the 11th he had for
It's 10-8 to Haskins. But I mean, I went mad for reading it. Before the decision came out, I went up to the IBF, but he was like, but his scorecard was excellent. It was just the wrong way around. Yeah, but I mean, I think he's 80. You have to do your own research, but I think he's like 80. But I've never seen anything like it.
Eddie, will you be asking for it to be appealed?
No, it will, but I mean, I presume that it will be on paper a majority the split decision will be revoked. It will be unanimous decision. Must be. But if it's not, I don't think the monkeys anyway. I mean, it doesn't really matter which one. But I've never seen anything like it.
Can you tell us about your plans for Burnett now?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a little bit of a break. You'll see him in a minute. I mean, he's a horrific cut. Jumbo did a brilliant job on it. He's got a mandatory because Lee Haskins had to ask for an exception to fight Ryan Burnett. So the mandatory is a guy called Emmanuel Rodriguez from Puerto Rico, who is very, very good. So we may, and we can't ask for an exception to fight anyone else because that was an exception. So the only thing we can do is have a unification. So that's what we'll be trying to do next. And I think the immediate focus is then Zekianov, who is Ricky Hatton's fighter, and those two have sparred many rounds together. And the plan is for a unification fight in October.
And you'll be fighting out of Belfast?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, I want to thank the people of Belfast because the atmosphere was brilliant, and the reason we were able to come, or the reason we were able to deliver the world title to Ryan was because of the fans. Otherwise, you know, it's been very hard for Ryan and for us, putting him on, you know, Hull, Manchester, Liverpool. For someone who is from a fight city that backs their fighters so much, to have to box him on the road all the time. He's not been built it. You know, he hasn't had Barry McGuigan. He hasn't had the King's Hall. He hasn't had all the smaller fights at the Odyssey as well. He's had to come straight into a world title headline. And I was worried, you know, when he was walking down the corridor, even in the ring, he was really quiet, like freakishly calm. And I was thinking that he might have frozen because he was that quiet, but he wasn't. He was just he was freakishly calm. And I thought he executed the game plan. To look good against Lee Haskins is really hard to do, but he outfought him, he outsmarted him, he outpowered him, he did everything. And I thought Haskins was incredibly brave because I didn't think he'd get up from those two right hands in, what was it, the first knockdown? Sixth. And then even in the 11th, he looked like he was out as well. So he done well to survive the distance, and you know, Ryan will learn a lot from that.
You mentioned September the other day for a second.
Yeah, well, that would originally be the plan, but I can't see how it'd be ready for September.
Well, do you think October would be this?
Yeah, and I mean, Carl's going July the 29th, so I think that will be his only fight in Belfast this year. So that will give us an opportunity to have a look, you know, space it out a little bit. That's going to sell well. Let people recover from that night, and then we'll go again in October, maybe even November. I mean, Ryan's only going to box one more time this year. So if it's October or November, it doesn't really matter. But my other concern is the other lads, mainly Hilo and Tennyson, because they've had good wins tonight, and they can now want them to fight for British titles on the next card as well. So I don't want to leave it too long because they'll be looking to get out as well.
So you can get more fans in?
I hope so. Yeah, we need to, because we're about to start paying him big money now.
What was it, about 5,000 a night?
No, a bit less than that. Yeah, probably about 4.5, a bit more. But I was very pleased with that. You know, I mean, that was the kind of crowds, probably a bit more, we were getting for Frampton before the first Kiko Martinez fight. That was the night it exploded. We had like 7,000 in. But for like Molitor and fights like that, it was the same kind of numbers as tonight. So I think you should be very pleased with that. You know, like I said, not been built in Belfast. That's something we've got to work on now. You know, we've got to do all the stuff that Kyle's done. We've got to go to the City Hall and, you know, let people meet him with a bell and that kind of stuff. He's your only world champion at the moment. And he's a good fighter and he's young. And he's got a big future. Moving up the weights as well. Michael Conlon, one day. Be a nice fight.
So yourself around needed to not just perform as well to keep them back here and draw the fans in. You happy?
Yeah, again. My one concern was that it was going to be a stinker. Because they're both quite awkward and they're both very intelligent. But I think the cuts actually fired the fight up because both of them were then thinking, if this gets stopped, after 4 rounds, I need to be ahead on the scorecard. So they both went at it in the 3rd and the 4th. And then they kept going. The knockdown, you know, was a big turning point in the fight, although Haskins was ahead. Ryan was ahead. You know, and then just kept winning it round after round, hurting multiple times. But what I was really pleased about, and it's hard because I look at it from an entertainment perspective, but the smart thing to do from about 7th or 8th round was just box. Do you know what I mean? Just win rounds and box. Don't get involved. But he did get involved and he tried to stop him, which is good because the fans like that, and I was pleased with that because although it was probably the wrong thing to do, and I was screaming at him to jump on Haskins and knock him out. Like the smart thing would have just been just get through the rounds, but you have to entertain. And I feel like he entertained against a very tricky and difficult fighter to entertain him.
Was it the kind of performance that you've been waiting for?
Yeah, well, we spoke to him. It was like, but when I signed Ryan Burnett, Adam was like, I'm telling you, this guy is freakishly good. I'm quite excited. And then we didn't really see it, did we? We saw good, solid performances, but Adam was always... Yeah, but I don't know, but that was frustrating because, again, as a promoter, you're thinking about, I want the handbrake to be on. Go and take someone's head off, show, you know, entertain.
That one of the reasons you couldn't actually come to Belfast.
Yeah, well, the main reason was because of the growth of boxing. So originally it was about, could we come in for a British title for Ryan Burnett? Yes. Then, no, a British title was not big enough. Then, could we come in for a European title? Now then a couple of the performances were a little bit stale, and then it was like, we can only come in with a world title fight. And they're hard to find. We got a Brit, which was good as well, and we got someone that people know and who's a good solid champion. So, but again, if it was a boring fight and if it was like he scraped through, we would have still come back. But you haven't got the momentum to say, look, you've got someone here that is very, very good and actually can go on. And you'll see how good he is against the likes of Zakyanov and Rodriguez. And I believe he'll move up to super bantam, not yet, but in time. He's still got a lot of development to do, and I think confidence as well. You know, again, he hasn't had the people behind him driving him, like the fans, like making him feel like he's a superstar. He's always the kid from Belfast who's boxing in Liverpool. So I think tonight will make him grow as a person and a fighter through having that support. There's a great
in the back of
oh yeah, great, yeah. But I think also he's a world champion. But there was a moment, you know, they were introducing him where he sort of stood there. I don't know if you saw it. He was like, and you could. That was good. You know, that was like giving him the energy to realise he's the man, because it's hard being over there when really, you know, we'd like him here.
And he's also now giving the other boys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wasn't sure Paul Hyland would win tonight because he's quite decent at Dinsdale. I thought Paul Hyland looked average last night on our show at York Hall, but I think he had a point to prove, and he, it was a great win. Tennyson was hurt badly, and I think the third fight came back and agreed he's going to be a very entertaining fight. Still a baby, maybe 22, 23, something like that. So I don't know how he makes super feather, let alone how he made feather. I mean, no wonder he didn't win that fight. But
did you really shoot him straight into the British title after that?
I believe so, because Ward's going to fight Kakachi. If Kakachi wins, him and Tennyson's a big fight. If Ward wins, he'll vacate, and I think Tennyson will be up for a vacant belt. So I don't see there's many more. He's fought for the featherweight title against a very good fighter in Ryan Walsh. He's come back with some good wins, Declan Garrity. and tonight against Ryan Daw, I think he's ready to fight the winner of, I think he's ready to fight Kakachi, and if it's not Kakachi, it'll be a vacant title, because Martin Ward's going to beat Kakachi. But then you've got other fighters, Tommy McCarthy, you know, he can have a shot at something, and really good, you know, Fergal McCrory, I like the look of him. He was exciting, he sells loads of tickets, good young talent. You know, so I think there's
Did you like him to push on in our time?
Fergal McCrory, yeah. But he's saying back, you know, he went up to his fans afterwards when he had sold about 300 tickets from a different part of Belfast. Because
It's 2 hours outside Belfast.
is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
They moved the GA match for him,
Yeah.
so they could all come down.
Yeah. Wow.
He's from where?
The same part
Tiny,
as
tiny.
Conrad Cummings.
That's right, yeah, that's right, yeah. No, but you need people like that, and the thing is about Tennyson and Highland, they'll fight anyone. They haven't been spoiled, do you know what I mean? Like, every opponent we gave them, Mark Dunlop just said, yeah, because they know they can't. You know, they're not names. So they've got to be in proper fights, otherwise, you know, as you said, you can say it in Belfast, but there's another audience out there. So that was one of the reasons I didn't want to necessarily just put on matchroom fighters against, you know, other names, because I wanted to try and, if Ryan did win, we've got a bit of momentum to bring the others on.
Will that be the same template if you go to Dublin in November for Katie, Eddie? Or?
Yeah, but I might bring Katie here. You know, I mean, I was thinking the other day to maybe come here in September and bring Katie here in September and then fight for the world title in November. So, I don't know, would we go October, Belfast, November, Dublin? I don't know, but what is it, an hour and a half from Dublin? I mean, is Katie still in Belfast? You guys probably know better than me, you know. Actually, why not? But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the first thing is to secure a US fight, and then look at, you know, September, and she'll definitely fight for a world title this year.
Is Zakhanov, is that going to be a pretty easy fight?
They want a lot of money. That's the hardest bit about the fight, but they're up for it. It's a really good fight. Really, like, he's tough as nails, but he's a lot simpler than Lee Haskins. He comes forward in straight lines, and from the first bell to the last bell, he don't stop coming forward. It's a really tough fight. But Ryan actually preferred the Zakianov fight over the Haskins fight. He sparred numerous rounds with him, and he really fancies that fight. But I think it's a very dangerous fight. But so's Rodriguez, who's a mandatory we no one's heard of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why not have the tough fight in unification? Early days for unification, but sometimes options present themselves that you have to take.
You mentioned that could be November until Burnett's ready to fight again. Is there a chance you bring Mark's boys over to Britain for fights?
Possibly, yeah. Or do a next gen over here, you know, one of our smaller shows, maybe in the King's Hall, or something like that. It's an idea. Let Tennyson headline there, or Highland, or, you know, bring a couple of our young Olympians over, Boatsy and those kind of boys. But again, you know, with Carl boxing in July, it's going to be very expensive, those tickets. So you don't want them to dig into their pocket too close to that. They're doing it here, aren't they? Yeah, they're doing it here.
No, Windsor Park.
No?
Windsor Park.
Are they? It's funny, I saw a seating plan today for the fight, yeah. July 29th. I'm not having a dig. No, but it's a problem. But I don't think it's a bad move. If it's not a huge fight, why take it outside, you know? But it will be expensive.
Yeah, I suppose overall it's first time back in Belfast yourself. What's 3 and a bit years maybe?
4 years. I looked at it this morning. It's February 2013. February against Kiko Martinez. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was so long. I mean, we do the darts here every year.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, but you know, the fans, you know, I kept looking around in between rounds, and people were like doing the conga and stuff like that, you know, like doing all this and like. And I'm glad we actually, like, Sky always ask us for the main event ring walks at 10 PM.
Sure.
Because that's the prime slot. But because of all the fights generally go on, you end up ring walking at 10:45, 11, which is probably a bit too late.
Yeah.
So actually, it was a nice time tonight, because if it was 11. Everyone would have been absolutely paralytic. You know what I mean? So we didn't really have any trouble or anything like that, which was nice. I got loads of people asking me for photos and then calling me a wanker. Some bloke said, "Can I have a photo, Eddie?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "You're a wanker." And I said, oh, thanks, mate, thanks. But you know what you're going to get, which is like the atmosphere was brilliant. I mean, 4,500, a bit more, but it felt like, that felt like the MEN on a another fight with 12, 15,000.
So you say, I mean, it's hasn't built here, just even get 4,500.
I know, but people, we're very spoiled now. You've got Wembley, you've got Kelbrook, 27,000, Tony Bellew, 17,000. They think that 4,500 is like crap, but it's a lot of tickets. Like we would have, like 2 or 3 years ago, we would have been begging for 4,500. But it's because when Ryan Burnett took 400 tickets, right? So at the press conference, the first press conference, he came to me and I said, "Oh, you've got to sell some tickets for this." And he went, "Yeah, do you want me just to tell everyone to go to the box office?" I went, "No, I want you to take the tickets and fucking graft with them and make sure you sell them." So his mate sold the tickets, right? When we turned up at the weigh-in, normally all the fighters come back with their tickets, you're thinking, and I pull them out of their bag and you think, oh God, and you look at the wedge and you think, underneath that, they're brought back. So I said to Mandy, who does the tickets, "Go on, how many did Ryan Burnett come back with?" She said, "No, none." I went, "Well, has he paid his money? The ticket money?" "Yeah, some guy just come in and gave him money." I said to Ryan, he went, "No, he sold them straight away." I went, "You could have asked for some more." But he said, "Oh, I didn't know, I did say to him, do you need any more?" But he sold them out like 3 weeks before the fight. From a guy who, like, when he boxes in England, he don't sell one ticket. Not one. In fact, he has more comps than he sells. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not in that mode. You know, like the kids like Tennyson and Highland and Corey, they know. They're so refreshing to work with because they know you have to graft the tickets. You know what I mean? You know how many tickets we had back to Mandy? Like 5s and 10s out of 200, 300. So all these lads are grafting, selling tickets. And again, if Ryan can sell there ain't a lot of tickets that sell, the fighters that sell 400 tickets, personally. Trust, like, I know. Because most of them can't be bothered when they get to that level. But if he can do that without even trying, he's already got the fan base. I mean, if you can be from Belfast and be a world champion and be successful, you've got a great chance. Great chance. Lucky, very lucky.
Do you see this, Eddie, as the start of something where you can continue to have boxing here even beyond the way you do in Liverpool and Manchester?
Yeah, but everything is
stop-go.
Yeah, but everything is built around the headline act. So without Ryan Burnett, like if he would have lost tonight, there is no way we could come back. Not with Tennyson, not with Highland. With all due respect to them, they're British title level. They've got to be built into stars. Now we've got Ryan Burnett. So there's no reason why we can't keep coming. But all those cities you talk about, it's even like Liverpool now. You've got Tony Bellew, you've got Callum Smith, they're the headline acts. You go away into other cities, Manchester. Crawler got beat, he was the big star there. Flanagan's okay, but good fighter, but not really selling. So you need the big names, and without them, you can't bring TV in. And although it's expensive to come here, and early on in the career of Carl Frampton, he wasn't rating, and that was the reason we couldn't come here 3 times a year. That was when we had the incident in Hull, where I wanted him to box on the undercard because he beat Kiko Martinez, and Sky said, "Look, it's very expensive, it's not really rated, can we go back in September?" So that was the interim fight. But again, you're at a stage now where if you're in World Championship fights, unification fights, it's quite easy to return and get the support of Scotland to be back. Let me go and get this kiddo. He must be ready now. There was a funny moment in the change room, right, where he was having a photo and he just went,